Villains is a pretty solid horror comedy. It honestly reminds me a lot of the 1996 movie Killers, where it's two people that are, not great people, but then they run into people who are even worse. Um, I honestly wouldn't necessarily call them that bad of people in this movie, though. I mean, sure, they are robbing people, but they aren't hurting anybody. They're just stealing money from gas stations and shit. So, their little motivation in this movie is they want to move to Florida and they think it'll be easier to live there and they'll create their own business and, um, not have to work ever again. They don't want to work. But unfortunately for them, their car breaks down after they rob a place and they go to a house to find gas. And that house, unfortunately, has two really terrible people. It has a father and mother who have a kid locked up in the basement. Later, it turns out that they're not parents, that they just kidnapped this girl at some point, but it wasn't the same to the mother. She wanted a real biological kid. So they decided to just lock her up in the basement. Um, they also say it's like a punishment for being bad, but later he explains that the only reason she's down there is as a compromise because his wife wanted him to kill her, but he didn't have the heart to do that. So, yeah, that was a pretty crazy plot twist. Um, he ends up being the only one to die, at least out of the two bad guys. She just is kind of out of it when she ends up finding him dead, and they decide to not kill her, which I think is a very strange choice because she was definitely the worst out of the two. I mean, she literally tries to sexually assault Bill Skarsgård's character and is mad that he's not hard. And she has a very weird mommy kink, which, yeah, that was a very interesting thing to add to the movie, but I guess it kind of fits her character. Um, Overall, it was a pretty fun movie. I did get a laugh out of them using the cliche horror line of, "What did you do to him?" And the villain of the movie simply responds, "What are you, blind? I shot him." I think that's such a good joke. Um, Bill Skarsgård character does not survive, and they decide to do the horror cliche where she basically, as far as we know, she decides to adopt the little kid and take her in. That's something that happens in horror movies is sometimes they'll save a child from the bad guy and now they have a kid. Yeah, I don't know why horror movies do that, but they do. Um, Very strange. And Bill Skarsgård character, he could have ducked too. The way he goes and tries to kill George is by driving George's car into him, and he tells his girlfriend to duck. But you could duck too. All you're doing is pushing down on a pedal. You could duck and push down on a pedal. He's right in front of you. It's a straight shot. He's not going to move out of the way in time. You just drive the car at him and duck. You probably wouldn't have died. But yeah, he dies. Um, they also have, a cliche cop scene where a cop shows up, almost notices something's wrong, but leaves. It's a decent movie. I think it's fun. But yeah, that's honestly really all I have to say.